recording started. Perfect. Wow. Episode 19 of the Jules and Coffee Hour beginning in 3, 2, 1. You're listening to the Jules and Coffee Hour, sharing the stories of Blizzard gamers around the world. Pull up a chair. We're glad you're here. Welcome to episode 19 of the Jules and Coffee Hour. I'm Jules.
And I'm Coffee, and I'm looking at a screen right now.
You are.
Yeah.
I was thinking about the irony of us talking about our topic of the week while we stare.
While we stream.
I mean, okay, so, yeah, how many screens are in front of you at the very moment? That mine would be 2.
Got 1, 2, 3.
3 monitors.
3 monitors, and I mean, my phone's here. I'm fighting the urge to look at it. I'm trying not to look at it.
Too.
Yeah, trying really hard not to look at my phone, but yeah, I don't know.
As you probably have guessed, our topic of this week is going to be talking about screens and our reliance upon them. This topic was actually created and proposed by the lovely Coffee himself, and because we've had, it's funny because, occasionally we will sit down and, between the crazy busy schedules that we have, we'll sit down and have a DM conversation about some upcoming show topics. And we were just a couple weeks ago rattling off some ideas on what we should be talking about in future shows. And then we have a nice little backlog of information sitting in our show notes doc, and that's awesome. But he literally, I think I was reading back on the message that you sent me. I'm like, how about addiction to screens? Because I'm literally typing this to you on my screen, and I know that it's wrecking my posture to do this.
Oh man, posture. God, that could be its own topic. I'm trying to sit up straight right now.
I know. I did the same thing literally as I was speaking it out loud. It's like, oh yeah, posture. So yeah, we're gonna be talking about addiction, or I don't know if I want to use the word addiction. I'm going to call it reliance on screens, and maybe we go into the addiction realm. And we'll get into that in a minute. But first, let's just say we are so sorry we missed last week having a show, and that was my fault. That was all me.
It's no one's fault. It's life. That's how it goes.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
No one's fault.
I left on vacation on Wednesday morning early. I got home from work. I knew I was going to have to get home from work. I was going to have to get a bunch of stuff done. And then it's record the show, produce the show, post the show, publicize the show. And I just knew I didn't have enough time to do all of the things that I needed to do. So we decided to bump the show for a week, which kind of sucked because I kind of wanted it in my life. I needed it in my life. But that's why we were off for a week. But the end of this topic discussion, I'll tell some stories of my trip to Vegas. And then Coffee is heading out tomorrow. So we're like ships in the night, just able to port for a quick moment to do this. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I'm going tomorrow. I'll be on a plane to Chicago, and yeah, I'll be in Chicago for 5 days until next Monday.
Oh,
so
sounds amazing.
I'll get home next Monday, and hopefully I'll try to stream on Monday, and then we'll have this show the following day. But yeah, it's gonna be a wild week, wild and crazy week.
It is. And so we're gonna jump right into the topic of the week, and that is marked by this lovely sounder right here. It's time for the topic of the week. It is the topic of the week, and we are talking about our reliance on screens. So I've thought about this one a lot, mainly because, like I said, I went to Vegas last week for a short little vacation. And one of the things that I made sure that I did, and I really wanted to do, was to really limit my screen time. And I did that for the first time in a really long time, where I just literally turned off notifications for Discord, Twitter, email, anything that would ping me and notify me about shit. I was like, nope.
You probably missed a lot of stuff on Twitter then.
No, I mean, I
Okay.
caught it. I was home when I know what you're referring to, and
Okay.
I caught it on. I was home on Saturday evening, and I caught it Sunday morning. But I was like, I missed the breaking of it. Um, yeah, but it was
Yeah.
so yeah, and it was an interesting thing for me because, um, so I am a person. Coffee, do you have a smartwatch? Do you
No.
wear a smartwatch?
God,
Okay,
no.
okay,
No.
I do.
No.
I have had an Apple Watch for
I wouldn't be able to function with it because
yeah.
I'm so into my phone as it is. Like I just know if I had the watch, and it was attached to me. I
Yep.
can't do that. I couldn't do it.
And honestly, I've had my watch for like 2.5 years, I guess I've had it. And so I've been so used to, because I'm notorious for when I'm like in the house and I was working from home, I would just put my phone somewhere in the house and just not pay attention to it. And then I'd have messages and I wouldn't be paying attention to it. So the watch stopped me from missing really important stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, so I go to Vegas.
Yeah,
I've turned
I
off all of
understand
these
how
notifications.
awesome it is too. I
Yeah,
get I know the flip side of it too for sure. I know it can
yeah.
be like an
But
incredible tool.
it's an incredible tool, but you just made my point for me earlier to say I will not get this watch because I know that it will literally
It
tether
will
me
take
to
over my
everything.
life. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes. So let's talk about that for a little bit because like my reasoning for getting the watch was to make sure that I stayed in touch,
mm-hmm.
and it has been something where um it's actually been a problem for me. I'm not going to use the word addiction because I don't think it's an addiction, but
Mm-hmm.
it's a very heavy reliance that I am not really too pleased about.
Yeah. And I agree with you. I don't think we should use the word addiction. I think the word reliance is more accurate.
Yep.
Um, the watch, I'm intrigued by it and I see people using it and it gets me excited and I wish I had one. I'm super envious of people that have it. I get so sucked in to my phone as it is, and I try to be hyper conscious about it because the people I'm with are, like specifically my wife, she's not on her phone. She's trying to enjoy time with me.
Mhm.
And if I'm just kind of like, super drawn into my screen like this and like she's right next to me, I just feel so bad for some reason. I mean, not for some reason, for a valid reason. I just feel bad that I'm not giving her myself. I'm giving this
Yep.
like inanimate object all of me, and
Yes.
I feel bad about it. So I don't want to do that. I try to fight it consciously.
Yeah. But now we are in a position where we have to think about not doing it.
Right.
And that was something that so I go to Vegas with my friend, and I was able to pretty well just not have a need or feeling like I was missing out on anything, because I'd made the conscious effort to turn things off.
That's good.
But when I'm not in like vacation mode, I have this real problem with this anxiety that sometimes crops up where I'm like, I'm not staying connected. I'm not
Could be missing something.
reachable. Could be missing something.
FOMO, fear
Exactly.
of missing out.
Yeah. Yeah. And man, it drives a lot of things in my life. It
Yeah.
really, really does. Um,
Well, that's kind of the flip side of it, right? Is like, because as content creators, so much of our job relies on staying engaged with our communities and
yep.
self promotion, and that's all wrapped up in to the social media platforms that are available through a screen. So it's tough not to be constantly worried about or thinking about your screen because you want to promote your business, you want to be successful.
Mhm.
So it's a really tough thing to
It's
deal with, honestly.
it's painfully, painfully tough. Because let's think about this from a perspective of when we got our smartphones. My first one, I believe I got mine in like 2009. Um, that was, and before that, it was just like the regular, like, Motorola flip phone thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so it wasn't this computer in your pocket. It wasn't the ability to surf the internet. on the device. So that's where we're talking 10 years ago, right? But at that time, I was a huge computer person. So I would spend all of my time, free time on a computer, playing games, whatever, on a television, watching TV. So it really was still like I was still on screens. I mean, and then you do just like rewind even further because we're gamers, because we're interested in entertainment and things like that. It's been television screens and computer monitors even back then.
Yeah.
And so, but I remember the shift that happened when I could carry an iPhone around and I could check my mail on my phone and I
Oof.
could search the internet for something or, get a map pulled up or something of that nature on my phone.
Yep.
And now I I remarked about this recently. I thought about this. If I had been in college when all of this stuff was available, I don't know if I would have been able to get any, like if Twitch existed when I was in college, I would have been screwed.
No, I agree 100%. And I think it's a good point you're making because we're talking about cell phones because that's what's so immediate and accessible to us right now. But
Yeah.
even then, I remember, going out to a bar with my friends in college and just being sucked in on the screens. Like if you go to like a sports bar or something, there are TVs all over the place.
Yes.
And I'm trying to have a good time with these individuals that at the time, I didn't know it at the time, but I had very limited time with those people and I liked them a lot. And pretty soon we were all going to disperse to all different parts of the world and try to make like awesome art and stuff like that. And I thought they were cool. And I wish that I spent more time with them instead of looking at my freaking like TV screens all the time,
Yeah.
Like we're at a sports bar hanging out with each other. And we're not engaging each other. We're looking at like TV screens and like sports and stuff like that. So
it's so interesting. And I think one of the biggest debates that happens right now is people who are of an older generation who look at the younger crowd and how they interact with each other setting. I've heard my parents say this. I've heard them be like, man, all you do is you see these kids just like sitting on their phones in a group and just not talking to each other. And I mean, I see it and I get it. And I think for me, it's not necessarily the thing that bothers me the most because I've been a gamer for so long and we've been spending so much time communicating to each other via a keyboard and a mouse, and maybe some voice chat or something.
Right.
But what I'm most concerned about is that we may not actually understand how to interact with each other anymore in a one-on-one scenario, sitting with each other and having an actual real conversation between two people.
Right. We're pulling out our phones and we're sharing in real life things that we did on social media or events that happened before. We have pictures on our cell phones and we're sharing them with people instead of just living in that moment and enjoying and engaging someone one-on-one.
Yeah. Yeah. Even dating, my gosh, everybody will tell you now if you're out there trying to date that you've got to be on the apps, okay? You got to be on the apps. And I'm like, good God, I have tried online dating a couple of times in the past and it's a nightmare because it lacks the ability. And I'm an online person. I am 100% like the person who's going to be able to communicate with people well online. I've been doing it for years and years and years. But it lacks the ability for me to really just tune into somebody and understand who they really are as a person, Even, and I'm going to go out on a limb here and say, even if I did not ever get a chance to talk to Coffee like this or see him on stream, you are very different when you are typing back and forth to me. You correspond in a way that's just very different than your own personality. And I would never have gotten to know you as you. Like, you can't see your sensitivity. You can't see your emotion. because that is not, you don't represent yourself the same way when you type.
Something like, and I learned this, and this is something I studied in college, but I think it was something like if you took gesture and body language out of the picture, something like 70% of communication is done with tone of voice.
Yeah.
That you're not going to get, through text and things like that. So it's definitely special. Yeah.
And if I have deep friendships with people who I've known for years, I can interpret their tone of voice from their text stuff. Like we're talking, I can
tell. But that comes with time.
Yeah, an experience of actually knowing what it is, their style of speaking, what their sarcasm level is like, what their sense of humor is. And we may miss so much of that just from interacting on just in a screen environment. So, yeah, and I'm not going to sit here and be judgmental about it, because hell, from the moment I get up in the morning to the moment I turn my my television off at night to go to sleep, I am looking at some digital device.
I wanted to bring something up because you jogged my memory. You said something a few moments ago about age and people looking at young people a certain way and being a little closed-minded. And I have a good example. My wife's aunt, who I know doesn't listen to this show, so this is totally fine to talk about, but it's funny because like you jogged my memory and then I whipped out my phone because I was like, this reminds me of this great thing. So this is a double-edged sword, a perfect example of what we're talking about. But my wife's aunt posted on Facebook and tagged 50 people in a video that she had posted 2 years ago as well.
What?
Yes, it's a video of a child playing the guitar.
Okay.
That's the video. She tags 50 people in it, including myself and my wife. And she writes, "This is just something you don't see or hear about anymore. Look at the pure joy in playing an instrument. Are there still garage bands? I never hear students talking about getting together and jamming in person. Kids can't even play air guitar with phones in their hands out. Out of curiosity, anybody know kids getting together to form a band? Is that now old school?" So
the irony of this.
I know the irony of this. So this is what my wife replied to this, because I really wanted to like give her the biggest high five, because I just thought this was perfect. But she writes, "I'm sure there are a lot of kids still jamming. This post is an example. How else would we have more and more talent popping up in media, on the radio, reality music shows, etc. Technology is definitely changing the way kids socialize, which is also changing the way they jam. There are a lot of apps that allow people to sing a duet with someone else around the world. How cool is that? Twitch and YouTube are great platforms for musicians to put their music out there and be seen. I just wanted to put out a more positive perspective of technology and music." And that just made me so happy that my wife wrote that and replied to that post.
It was a very kind dunk.
It was. It was a very kind boom. Yeah. It was a slam dunk.
Yeah. It was. That's glorious. And that's the thing, is that there's the irony of it is that she posted it on Facebook.
Yeah.
Where are you going to look on
she
Facebook
tagged
to see it?
50 people.
Tagging 50 people and getting their attention, which she could never do without the invention of, all of this technology, screens to be able to see it, all of those things like that.
And also, the video is on Facebook to begin with, meaning, like, would she have ever seen that video if it wasn't for technology? No. It's just, there's so much irony in it, and it made me so happy that my wife pointed out some key points of the irony, and then also just brought it full circle that, it's like, there's just positive ways to look at our reliance on screens, I think.
Yeah. And it is. I can't even tell you how much it has enhanced my life, but um I think I don't know if I've talked about this on the show before, but one of the things that I miss, I guess, is just being able to go off the grid for a little bit. Like because we have such a reliance on screens, because we are so accessible. um my my father is a good example of this. My father, who is a retired police chief, and automatically very you know cognizant and cautious about people's safety, has, I mean, we live in different states and we usually talk every Sunday, but every once in a while he'll just randomly call me or he'll text me or something like that. But it's not all the time. And a couple years ago, I was going through a pretty rough time in my life, and I was just needing to take a break from
Mhm.
everything. I was tired of social media. I was tired of always being on all the time. As a podcaster, everybody's got abilities to message me 10 different ways. And I just decided I'm going to put my phone away today and I'm going to leave it there and I'm going to go and spend my day. And I'm not going to check social media and I'm not going to check my texts and I'm not going to do anything. And so I had a great day. I went to the gym and I spent time outside and I enjoyed myself and I was offline for the entire day. And I get a banging knock on my door. I lived in an apartment at the time. I was renting an apartment. And it was one of the property managers. And the property manager, and I'm like, "Hi." And they were like, "Your father is trying to reach you and he is panicking and he asked us to come and check on you to make sure you're okay." Now, Coffee, it has been maybe 12 hours since I have put my phone down and not
Oh my.
connected on anything. And so I pick up my phone in a panic, and it's my father's texting and email and calling, like messages. And he goes, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine. You didn't respond to my text right away." And it was one of those moments where I
Wow.
like it could like I've talked to them on Sunday. Today is Tuesday. We have not spoken in 48 hours. Normally that would be fine. Like they wouldn't have done anything related to that. It would have been fine. It was just that window of time where he just happened to text me to check on
Mhm.
me. I didn't answer. He freaked out.
Mhm.
And I now, unfortunately, have to let them know that I'm going to go off the grid for a day so that they don't
Ahead of
do
time.
that.
Yeah.
And
Huh.
that is, I don't know how I feel about it, Coffee. I don't, because it's just one of
Yeah.
those things where, I go back to what I'm thinking about, 10, 20 years ago. I mean, I'm going to date myself, but, we didn't have a phone in our pocket to reach anybody. You just had to wait till they got home and you left them a message on their answering machine,
Yeah.
or, you know,
Yeah.
that we were not able to be reached at any given moment of any given day.
Yeah. I'll go further with that
Go
and
for it.
say that like 20 years ago, you didn't necessarily know where people were all the time because
Yeah.
GPS wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
That's kind of a newer. There are apps now that you put on your phones that like tell you where your family members are and stuff like that.
Hmm.
People or parents use it for their kids when their kids start driving, and it even tells them like how fast their kid is driving and shit like that. Not only like where they
Yes.
are in their car, but how fast they're going and stuff like that. And I mean, part of that, I get the desire, right? You want to be in control of your child and you want to be protective of them, but that's just not the way it was 20 years ago.
No, and so what it is now is that we didn't have the technology then, we do now. And so honestly, I feel like there's just no going back. Like you
Yeah.
can't, now that we have the technology and people are wanting and willing and needing to use it, it's literally that you can't go back without a fight.
Mm-hmm.
Or being that person that just says, I am purposefully detaching from the norm of, everybody has a smartphone on them at all times. Um, my boss is really funny because she is notoriously um, bad at remembering where her phone and her keys are. And so every day when she's heading out the door, because she does a lot of stuff on the road, she has to walk right past my desk every time she leaves. And she, and so we've gotten into the habit. I'm like, you got your keys? You got your phone? You got your bag? And she's like, yep. Oh, nope, I don't have my phone. And then she's going to go back and get it.
You're going on the checklist, and she's like, oh, no, I don't.
Or she's left her phone at home, or she's left her phone in the car. And when we, and you're working, like, so in my business, each individual except for me, I mean, I have the company phone, but it's a cell phone. Everybody's got cell phones. It's their business phones. And so you don't have your phone on you, you're not doing business. You can't talk to your customers, or your customers can't talk to you very easily. And we're gonna be getting this big old stupid snowstorm in a week, or not a week, tomorrow, a couple days. And I'm like, well, okay, I can work from home because the office phone is a cell phone, so I can bring it home and work from home during the snowstorm.
Interesting.
Yeah. Isn't that
cool.
wild?
I like that.
It's cool, but F any chance of ever having a snow day, because I can bring the phone home now.
Snow days don't exist in LA.
So. I know they don't. But it's so weird to me to think about, years ago when I would go to an office and then, I'd have my phone in my office, and I'd come home and you wouldn't be able to check your emails at home. You leave your work at home. And yeah, like on vacation, my bosses texted me twice because they needed something from me, because they could.
Did you reply back? You're on vacation.
Yeah, they pay my paycheck.
But
like
you're
the
on
owner of the company.
vacation.
I know. And that's the thing. Like if I'd gone on a cruise or something and I literally did not have the ability to get my cell phone because I couldn't get it, that would be. And let me tell you something, dude. I seriously wish I could go on a cruise at some point so that I could just leave my phone someplace in my room and not have to be connected for like a week.
Yeah.
And my parents just went on a cruise, the same thing. And it was just very, very strange because I couldn't text them for a week. It was just very odd. So
yeah,
I'm remarking on a lot of stuff. I'm not really making any conclusions on anything except to just kind of point it out to ourselves. Like, do I worry about the word addiction for myself when it comes to a screen? And I'll be frank and say, I avoid thinking about that. I stop the whole, like, if you have an iPhone, they introduced the screen time feature on the iPhone. And I turned that sucker off because I didn't want to see it.
Yeah. No, I don't want to know that either. And I'll say a couple things that are relevant to me right now about this topic. Is that one thing is I'm going out of town tomorrow. I'm gonna be gone for 5 days, and I have anxiety about being away from my stream for that long. Yeah. So that's like one reliance on screens, because that's how I've formed and like forged most of my social relationships that I have right now are through my stream. Yeah. And it gives me anxiety to be away from my stream for 5+ days. So that's one thing. The other thing is, of the past year of me like pretty much, sitting at my computer all day long, streaming, working, stuff like that, my posture has gotten really screwed up. I've gained weight. I mean, there's so many bad things, about it. But at the end of the day, I just feel more comfortable when I'm looking at a screen.
Yeah.
It's just.
Yeah. And, and the irony of that, like when I was really, when I had a good kind of schedule to be able to go to the gym all the time, how did I get through a gym workout on the treadmill? I'd bring my iPad and I would watch a show on my iPad to distract me from the fact that I was working out, because I don't like it. And that's I think we both are here to admit that our lives are completely engulfed with it. And honestly, so like, and what's awesome for me, especially when we have BlizzCon coming around, and this is something that I am very good at, is that and people yell at me for this. I do not take a lot of photos when I am at BlizzCon or with my friends
Mm-hmm.
because I know that that time is very precious and very limited, and I don't want to be spending it behind the screen of my phone, taking photos or videos or that kind of thing. And people are like, "Why didn't you take any pictures?" It's like, I've been to BlizzCon 6 times. I don't really need that many pictures. I just want to have those experiences of seeing my friends laugh and smile, and we're having a good meal together, and we're joking and giving each other hugs. And why would I want to be behind my screen? Because the way that I've connected with them until this point is through that screen, and I don't need it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I feel similar. I mean, on the one hand, I feel like in order to self promote effectively and be successful, I have to like be taking pictures of myself and putting them on social media. But events and conventions like that, I want it to mostly be about the people and that social
Hmm.
interaction and have a meaningful time that I'll remember for a long time. So it's another part of my life that's super conflicted when it comes to screens.
Yes. Yes. I mean, even just going to Vegas last week, people were like, "Hey, take pictures, text me pictures, put it on social media, blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, and I
Did you?
did a
Yeah.
couple, but at the same time, I didn't really want to. I was making other people happy by trying to do it.
Yeah.
And so that actually was something I was just like, you know what? Screw it. I want to make sure I don't regret not having a photo of like me and my friend who went together. Like, hey, we got a selfie together. Great, let's do that. But it wasn't like photos every minute of every single thing and then posting it, doing posts, curated posts on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. I'm like, no, I don't want to. I just don't. And that is the echo of the content creator voice in our heads. Like, I know you're going to Star Wars Celebration. There's going to be like, dude, what did you see? What did you experience? What's cool? Blah blah blah. And you should be taking pictures and sharing all your pictures with us. And I'm going to be sitting there going, dude, I hope that when you're hanging around with your friends the entire time, geeking out over all this shit, that you aren't thinking about taking a photo. You're thinking about getting excited about the things that you're learning and seeing.
So luckily, yeah, and here's the thing. Luckily, I'm gonna be with Meat Yard and Kai Berries, and Meat Yard is so good about taking photos. I mean, Meat Yard is
Yeah.
like god tier photographer. I mean, he's just so good at photos. So I know that if I want to look back and like look at a moment or a memory, I think it'll be documented because he's just a
Yeah.
freaking legend. I mean, that guy is amazing. He loves to take photos. So I'm gonna try not to focus on that whatsoever. I'm just kind of try to enjoy my time and soak it up and be a nerd and get excited about episode 9 news. And then they teased a new video game today, and then they're gonna be giving out details about Galaxy's Edge, the new park at Disney, and there's just gonna be so much news. So yeah.
I'm actually going to be curious to see what your reaction is, because you are like, you're getting on a plane tomorrow. you know Typically what happens with us, and it's happened to me too, is you're kind of idle when you're at the airport and you need something to do. So that is a lot of phone time. it's
It
it's
is.
chatting on
Yeah.
Discord and Twitter and
Discord,
that kind of
Twitter.
thing. Yeah, and then afterwards, after you've gotten there and you started the process of actually getting to the spot where you are, and the fun begins, my I'm hoping that what happens is that you're just going to be like, "Yep, phone is in the pocket and I'm not really caring."
I'm gonna
And
try.
but well, and I'm going to be curious to see how you feel about it, because this is actually a really prime opportunity for you to test your metal against the feeling like you have to have your phone on all the time.
It is a good opportunity, but I'm already anxious about the trip. Like, I'm already
You are
anxious about
anxious.
being away from the stream and stuff like that. It's just such a long time to not stream for me, really.
Yeah.
I
But
I've
at the
gone
same
like a
time,
couple days or 3 days at a time without
mhm,
streaming. I don't think I've ever gone 6 days without streaming.
I think you did during the holidays. I think you
Oh,
because
you
you
might be
had to
right.
have
You
time
might be
off.
right. Yeah.
But you know,
during the holidays.
not to like, you know, bend straws, anything like that. It's just that it's
You might
just
be right.
more about, but my point being is that it's not anything that, like, the world didn't come crashing down during the holidays when you didn't
Yeah.
stream that time. And you are going to do something that is going to bring back a ton of stories and things for people to talk about on the stream.
Yeah.
So hopefully that will minimize a little bit of your anxiety from it. I hope.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope so too. I'm also just like, yeah, I don't know. I'm just anxious about it, but I know I'm gonna have such a good time. I would never forgive myself if I didn't go, because I
Right?
wanted to go to Star Wars Celebration for years and years and years, and I know it's gonna be amazing. So I'm excited.
It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome, and
Yeah.
you're going to come back with amazing stories to tell about the times that you spent. Um Whether or not you capture a bunch of it with pictures or not, you know, you're going to be most likely dealing with the, you know, the self-inflicted guilt of content creator not taking a lot of content while
Yeah.
you're, you know, gathering content. But
I'm just
just
gonna use all of Meat
I'm
Yard's pictures and post content from his
exactly.
photos.
I'm literally just going to say to you at this point, do whatever makes you happy and don't feel like you have to fit some kind of mold
Yeah.
to, you know, to post. And that's kind of where things have been for me in the last couple of months too, as I've been, you know, working a new job and having more limited time. It's like I'm not doing some of the things that I used to do prior to this. I'm not making as much crafting stuff and posting that, and I'm not doing the things that I was doing before. And you know what? It's okay. It's okay. So don't feel like just because you're going to be gone that you have to do all of this in order to stay relevant or stay attached to things, or, you know, stay up on things.
Yeah.
It's the world is going to keep going. It's just when you said earlier, you know, I could have missed out on a whole lot of stuff had I not been checking. I thought about the same thing. Like when I got back and I started, you know, kind of re-engaging, it was when something really, really significant was happening to people that I cared about.
I try to do
And
that same thing on the weekend all the time, by the way. So I
mhm.
also
Mhm.
I was playing catch up myself because I try to
Yeah.
disconnect on the weekends. But yeah.
Yeah, and it was one of those moments where I was just like, "Oh man, if I had missed this, the world would not have ended if I had missed what was coming down at that point." But at the same time, it was like, I was glad that I was connected back in so that I was up on what was happening, because there's that feeling of, oh, if I were disconnected from things that were that significant, it would be tough. It would be
Yeah.
bad.
You might say something
Yep.
offensive, or you might say something
Ignorant or
unknowingly
uneducated. Yeah. Like you just don't
to the
know.
wrong person. It's just
Yeah. It's tough. It's tough. And so there's that feeling for me a lot of times, is to make sure that I'm staying up on the latest news and what's happening in our circles. Let me tell you. Let me tell you, at this point, I'm so sick of the national news that I just have to just scroll it by. I can't deal anymore. I just
yeah.
can't do it. So I want to keep within our own backyard and the things that are important to our communities and our people and the
Yeah.
gaming communities and the things that, yeah, it's just, that's enough right now. Just stay on top of that. Oh man, and what's new stuff coming out and all those things, man.
Yep.
So can I ask you this? I was listening to a podcast the other day and they were talking about this, and the debate between the two hosts was whether or not they experienced FOMO, fear of missing out, and if it was a thing that really drove them in life, and um, and if it was something that was a driver for you maybe when you were younger, but not as much as when you know, at an older age. So
It's a
do
good
you feel
question.
like do you have FOMO, fear of missing out on stuff?
I'm gonna answer that as soon as I lock this Petrelli cat away. He's attacking
Oh my
Daisy, and I have
goodness.
to lock him
I
away.
just heard I heard the yowl. That poor little cat is the little terror that he is.
Here he is, by the way. Just so you can
Oh
see
my
him.
goodness, look at this cat.
He's bad to the bone. He's so bad.
He is getting big too. What a cutie pie. Time to lock up the Petrelli. So while we're waiting on that, chat room, I'll ask you guys, do you have fear of missing out on things? Do you feel like if you miss out on something? Let's see what your answers are while Coffee gets back into his chair. There you are.
Yeah, I'll say I definitely have fear of missing out. I worry about, if I'm disconnected from my phone long enough, I worry about how many emails I missed. I worry about how much community news I missed. Things like that. Because the way I look at it is every new email or message could be an opportunity for me. And if I miss opportunities, I get super disappointed in myself.
Yeah.
Just so that's just, but it's not as bad as it used to be. I used to be really bad about that. Like, in college or when I was just starting out with the aspects of my career, I thought that like around every corner could be a new opportunity. And I was super nervous about missing out on something. It's definitely, I've gotten better about it, but for sure I still have FOMO. Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. More, it's just like my FOMO revolves around not being in the know about stuff, not being up to speed on the latest information. I hate feeling like I don't know what's going down, and it's literally impossible. I used to have that even around television shows, for God's sake.
Oh, yeah.
It was weird. And I had to finally give up because I literally could not keep up with the hundreds of television shows that people were into and had to narrow it to the few things that I would be actually interested in wanting to stay up on. And if I got spoiled on something else, I'd be like, F it.
When I used to work in an office, I knew that if I didn't keep up to date on certain TV shows, they would be spoiled for me the next day in the office because of how loud people talk about certain shows.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Right. Well, then Game of Thrones is probably the exception for everything because that is the one show
that you're always up to date on.
Yeah, like because the internet is so hyper about it that I will shut off. That is the one show that I will do this for. So starting this week.
So the premiere is this weekend.
Yes.
And I'm not going to be with my wife. I don't know. Like, do I not watch it, or I'm going to be in Chicago? Like, I don't even know if Kai Berries and Meat Yard watch Game of Thrones. So
that is actually a good question that I don't know the answer to. But if you, you'll have to actually like, I would actually clear this with Emma and be like, okay, so what's the rule here?
Yeah. This is. We need to talk about this. This is definitely an important subject.
And this is the funniest thing is because it is such a monumental show for so many people, including myself. Like that is the one show that I will not wait to watch.
Yeah.
When it's out, I'm watching it, and everything else gets put on hold until it's time.
If Jon Snow takes his pants off, you need to know right now. You can't wait till next week, right? You need
Jon
to be.
Jon Snow is my man crush.
I know he is, and I know if he's dropping trowel, you need to know the moment it happens. I get it.
Yes, sir. I do. I need to make sure that we see his booty again.
George R. Martin, are you listening to this? Make it happen.
Please make sure. Could you produce this for me? Yeah. It's just, but that is. Kind of going back in the way of like when I remember watching Friends and ER when I was in school and wanting to see the latest episode because there wasn't the internet to talk about it. People would just like get together and watch the show together and then like, did you see the latest episode? Did you see what happened? Like that stuff is still reliance on screens, but not in a way that we have it now. So it's just really.
Crenshaw Pete messaged in the chat room. It's kind of wanted to read this. He says, I usually ignore my phone. It has cost me friends because I wasn't there when they needed me. But I gave up social media years ago and gave up TV almost 10 years ago.
Wow.
That's
pretty
that is good. It's cold turkey, just cutting it off right there. But
Yeah.
yeah, for sure,
I
Crenshaw.
applaud people who can do that, and again, I struggle with it. It is
Yep.
clearly something I struggle with. However, I did not really struggle with it when I went away because I literally just wanted to be away from it. I
But
wanted to
aren't
be
there TV
detached from
screens
stuff.
on like every, you know, step of Vegas though? Essentially, like every foot you
Yeah, I mean
take is a
not
TV
like
screen.
there's just digital screens all over the
Yeah,
place,
yeah.
so you can't get away from it. But it's not like I'm checking social media every five
Right.
minutes
Yeah.
or that kind of thing. So, um, yeah, it's an interesting thing to think about, and I I try my best to give myself breaks from it. I need to be better. I do. I know I need to be better because my progression of my day begins when I get up in the morning to go to work and I'm checking emails and
Discord.
Twitter and
Yeah.
Discord, and then I'm going to work. I'm on my computer all day. I got home from
Yep.
work tonight. I sat down and watched a show while I was eating my dinner. Now we're doing this podcast. I'm going to flip on a Twitch stream when we're done, and then I go to bed
Yep.
and I flip my television on and I'm like it's
Yep.
constant. It is constant.
I think about kids a lot when I think about screens. I mean, I feel like
Yeah.
I found myself thinking about kids a lot lately because it's possible Emma and I, will head in that direction of having kids soon
Mhm.
at some point. So it's something that's on my mind, and I see so many kids that their hands are barely large enough to hold these screens, and these
Mhm.
screens are bigger than their heads sometimes,
Mhm.
and they're just sucked into these games on these massive iPads and their phones. And a friend of mine just bought his two like 6-year olds like the latest iPhone or something like that. And then on the flip side, I have my cousin who lives in Koreatown. She has two daughters. They do not own a TV. They've just like
Wow.
when they found out they were having kids, they got rid of the TV, and they're just none of that, no screens
Wow.
at all. So it's just I don't know what the right thing to do is. I don't know what the healthiest way to go is in terms of bringing up a child in this society.
I couldn't tell you either because like even my niece, I watch her and my parents will remark on this. They say she's better at 3 years old. She's better on tablets and phones than we are.
Mm-hmm.
She understands that better. I was talking to my boss who has three little boys, and we were laughing about how her children will never understand the on demand of television that wasn't there, like
Yeah.
watching a TV show and not being able to pause it
Right.
or to just pull it up on demand. That you only could see it when it was on, and
Well,
that was it.
I'm gonna stop you right there because if you had a VCR, you could tape it.
You
Okay.
could, you
You
could, and I
remember like
literally
plopping in the VHS and like, is this thing? Is it recording? Is it recording? Like, and you were just like, I mean,
or programming the
oh
thing to
man,
to record a show at a certain time, but like a football game would make it
would
run
go
over.
late, and then
Yup,
you
you'd
get
miss
the
half your show.
show. Well, you get the show, and then you get to like the end, and it just cuts off, right? Because
Yes.
Jesus.
And then we tried to get tricky and then be like, okay, well, we're going to let it record an extra half an hour after the end time to
Oh
hopefully not
man.
miss it. Maybe it's a special episode that you didn't know when an hour and a half instead of an hour. It was tough, man. And then TiVo came along and we were like, this is the best thing since sliced bread.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was crazy. And I'm 100% somebody who is in love with and will always be in love with technology and the new stuff that's out there. I'm always going to be a part of it. I just don't I don't know what our future looks like, past what I've been brought up to be and the generations that are now, um how they will know life without a screen.
Mhm.
Will they know a life or want to experience some part of their life without a screen? to travel or do something amazing, different, go to a theater performance. You know,
Yeah. Theater's
something like
not doing
that.
so hot right now.
Right?
There's a reason for that.
Right? It's because people will sit there with their phone trying to record it and get yelled at by the performers.
Yeah.
Don't go to Hamilton and record with your phone, guys. Just
Don't go to any show and do that.
Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
turn that thing
No kidding.
off if you're
Turn it
watching a
off.
theater show. God.
All right. I think that'll probably do it for the topic, unless you had anything else you wanted to bring up, because we have some life summaries to do.
Yeah.
We haven't done that in a while.
I think that's a good way to end it. And I'll just say, as I look around and I see young people using all these screens and stuff I'm so conflicted about that, just because I know that screens and technology is the future, and if they're getting exposed to this type of technology so early, I hope that by the time they're my age, they're experts in it and they can make a career out of it and they can do amazing things. On the other hand, I just hope that we don't lose that kind of intimate, special social interaction that I think is so valuable, especially in today's society and culture. And it's just something that I'm super conflicted about, and I don't know the right answer. I'm just hyper aware of it.
Yeah, because we recognize the irony that you are listening to this podcast on something that has a screen on it.
But you might not have the screen on. Maybe you have headphones in. Maybe you're just listening to it. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's me listening to podcasts 98% of the time is I'm, in my car listening just to the audio, that kind of thing. But we do put this on YouTube, so if you're watching on YouTube, hi. We like you. All right, let's tell some stories about stuff. This is that part of the show. We're going to tell you some life stories, and it sounds like this. Hey, Coffee, tell me a story. Please tell me some stories about what has been going on in your world.
Sure. I can't remember. Have we chatted since Midnight Society came to visit me?
No.
Oh my God, it was just the best time. She left last week. She and her husband stayed with me and my wife, and it was just so special, and it was just such a great example of an experience I never would have had without Twitch. She was she was my first mod. No, Vaping Fluffy was my first mod. She was my second mod. And I don't know. Like, it's just like one of those things where you just click with someone in chat and they become special. And a year passes and she's visiting me and we're seeing each other in real life for the first time. And it's just special. And her husband were honestly just the easiest house guests. Like, we changed nothing about our lives, like having them with us. It was just like they were just here and they wanted to be involved in what we were doing, and it was just so easy, and it just felt like I had known them my entire life. It was so surreal, and I miss them deeply, and I wish they didn't live so far away, but I hope that they come back, and I love them so much. We had such a good time when they were here. It was such a special time.
That is incredible. And it's a bit of a risk sometimes when you have someone stay with you for the first time and you don't really know how well you get along, that kind of thing.
Yeah, but like, honestly, I was sad to see them go, and I don't know, like, I have family that comes to stay with me, and I am not sad to see them go. You know what I mean?
Yes.
To be frank, to be honest, like, I'm not sad to see certain people go. Like, and my family comes to visit and they leave. I'm not upset about it. But when they left, I was honestly sad, and my wife like even like cried a little bit, and I was like, "Baby, what's wrong?" And she's like, "I'm really gonna miss them," she said. And we love them so much.
Good. I'm really glad that it went well, that you had fun, that they had fun. Because they had plans to do a bunch of things for that trip that was kind of driving them to come out.
Well, yeah, they were coming out to go to a concert, and originally I thought this was going to be like a music festival, and it turned out the concert was just like on the Sunday, and every other day they were just here, like hanging out, and it was just like Okay, so like we had like delicious food, went out to breakfast a few times, went to dinner a bunch of times. Um, we went to a museum. I had them on stream with me one day. I mean, it was just
Mm-hmm.
we didn't really do anything like too out of the ordinary. We just kind of lived our lives, and it was just so good to have them here. It was like I don't know. It's just like you just click with certain people. They're just
Yeah.
you in a
Yeah.
different place, and it's
Yes.
cool to see that. It was so fun. And while she was
That's great.
here, this is a good example of back to our original topic is that when she was here, she was like, we should take some pictures for the coffee club. So we went out to some like really cool spots, and she's a photographer, and she took a bunch of photos of me in like coffee club attire and some Blizz Heroes attire. And now I have this like whole reel of stuff to like post to like social media and stuff, like professional photos. And
Perfect.
it's just like in the backlog, right? So when I have to make that mandatory social media post to promote my brand and business and be successful, I have just like random photos of stuff thanks to the
Good.
lovely Midnight
That
Society.
I wish I had that kind of backlog. I mean,
I
that would
know.
be great.
I know.
That's great.
I want
Oh,
some
that's
new
so
branding
cool.
for Jules and Coffee Hour. I want some merch. I want new branding. I think
Yes.
we gotta do it
Yes.
up.
I have to give us a little nudge to the conversation that stalled out the other day on stuff. Well,
Mhm.
that was a good reminder. I will do that. Yeah. Oh gosh, that's great. I'm so glad that you had a good time. You're about to embark on another good time.
Yeah,
A
another
whole bunch of
life-changing
people that you
time.
know.
Yeah,
Yes, it's gonna be a good time for you.
it's gonna be fun.
Hmm.
What about you?
I have.
How was Vegas?
It was Vegas was amazing. So I went with my friend Jayonce. He has been a friend of mine for, gosh, I want to say 4 or 5 years now. And we just travel really well together. It's just one of those same kind of things. Like we just mesh really well. We're good travel partners. We have the same interests and things. We were because he is from Boston and I am from Minnesota, we had the big time change differences going to Vegas. And so we were up stupid early every morning. We'd go out and get breakfast. There's nobody there. We'd be out all day. And then we'd go home and it would be like everybody's coming out to go party. And we're like, we're going out to bed.
Oh,
And so,
yeah, yeah.
but, I mean, Jay is one of those people who, he's gay and he loves like the Real Housewives series and he loves all these crazy things that sometimes I'm just like, I don't understand this. But he made me watch Catfish with him for the first time and I had a blast because we were making fun of it. And it was great. It was exactly what I needed to get away and kind of take a break. Um,
Nice.
and so I love Vegas because I love going to play at table games because I've had some of my most fun experiences with a fun table, a fun dealer. It can be really, really awesome. For the most part, most Vegas dealers were pretty blah,
Oh,
pretty, pretty down, pretty non emotional, non even engaging, nothing. And I was getting
bummer.
kind of sad about it. Like I was bummed out about it. We'd been playing quite a bit of blackjack on different tables, different casinos, and it was the same thing over and over.
Hmm.
And the last day that we were there, we sat down at this table. We had dinner reservations a little bit earlier in the evening, and I was like, okay, well we'll kill some time before. We sit down at this table, and this first dealer switches out, and there's another dealer that comes in. And when I talk about life in the world that we're energy. We exchange energy, we put out energy, we create energy. And when this man sat down at the table, the entire mood shifted. It was incredible. I was actually pretty much in awe of this entire thing. He sits down, he's an older black gentleman, super funny, super engaging. He starts by like, how's everybody doing today? How's everybody doing today? And he's like, we're gonna win, we're gonna win, we're gonna win, we're gonna win. And if somebody didn't, he actually like slapped the shoe. No, you're bad. You know, he's just like getting engaged and funny.
Yeah.
And what he did, which was so amazing, is he started with me. He asked me my name, and I said, my name's Jules. And he says, Miss Jules, Miss Jules, Miss Jules. And he asks somebody else their name. Miss Victoria, Miss Victoria. And he learned every single person's name at that table. And he used our names the entire time
Aw.
when we were playing. And it was, you know, it's like, good luck, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much for being here and playing with us today. And it was this, we were having so
Wow.
much fun. There were like 7 strangers sitting at this table except for Jay and I and the couple, the older couple there. And we were all bonded. It was so much fun. It was so amazing. I was, and I literally, guys, like I leave this table and change our reservation because I do not want to leave this table. I'm having so much fun.
Aw.
And I did. I changed our reservation so that we could go
That's
later.
so
And
good.
it was so cool. And it was such a case study in the power of energy and interacting with people. And we were having so much fun. We were winning. We were we were laughing with each other. We were cheering when someone got a blackjack. It was awesome. And then it was time for Derek to leave because it was his break.
Yeah.
And the entire thing just went.
Brr.
It just died. It literally died. The energy died. The luck died. Everything died. And we left because.
No Derek.
And so telling this story, I really just want to convey in this world that a lot of time, like, so this dealer, Derek, is like, you remind me of someone that I know that I really care about because she's got a bubbly personality like yours. And I, you know, it made me feel great, right? It made me feel awesome that I was being related to somebody who was cared about and he likes, and you know, and this person who was very powerful in terms of this energy field. It's incredible. The energy that you put out in this world can affect others in a way that you can never ever discount. And what, you know, seeing someone put out that level of positive energy and turn these strangers into friends was an awesome experience for me. And
that's amazing.
I just wanted to share that story. I did. It was such a cool story.
Shout out to Derek at the blackjack table in Vegas. You're awesome.
It was the Plaza Hotel on the downtown in Vegas. Derek, if you ever go there, he's awesome, man, at the blackjack tables if he's still dealing. I mean, I'm in awe of it, and it reminds me every day that it's, you know, and it tells me, like, I do this work every day when I'm talking to customers and I'm you know, starting their experience with my company. I start the experience with the company. I'm the first person they talk to most of the time. And it's very, very much something I carry in my back pocket about how I make people's experience better on that day. Yeah, it was such a cool thing. And, you know, you say, Jules, you're always working. You're always thinking about stuff like this. I am. Even when I'm on vacation, I think about it because, yeah, like we can do so much good in this world by providing that energy and positivity and making people feel good about themselves. So
yeah,
to every single person who
Derek's out there changing energy and vibes, and I think that's so important. I think we are what we put out into this world.
Yes.
And, I mean, I think it's everyone's responsibility to try to meet that level of positive energy and put that out there, and maybe even more so if you're a content creator. I don't know, but
yes,
if you're a content creator putting out bad energy or bad vibes, or maybe you're even like hurting people in some way, you have to do some self-reflection and make some key adjustments, because shame on you, really, if that's what you're doing.
Yeah, because, you know, and yes, every single one of us has a bad time, bad days, bad runs of things we're not feeling it.
Yeah.
But
that's different though.
Oh yeah, no, if you're intentionally hurting people because of things going on in your life, you know, yeah, there's power and strength in positivity. And I know that sometimes people are going to roll their eyes and say, blah, 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 Pollyanna, whatever. But that's always been my mission in life, is to infuse this world with as much positivity and well-rounded thinking as I can. And so to every single person that is listening to this show right now on YouTube, on iTunes, whatever you're listening to, thank you. Thank you for taking the time to listen to us, to be with us, to infuse yourself with the messages that we send out, because that means the world to me. It means the world to Coffee. And if we can make your life just a little bit better, because you guys have told us this, like you have sent us these YouTube comments and emails and said, we make your life better. I mean, holy shit, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That is incredible. And I am so grateful for it. And it's a freaking drug. I just want to do it all the time if I can.
Yeah. I'd do it full time if I could.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So yeah. So that's kind of my little story / very quick summary of my Vegas trip, but I feel good. It's
a beautiful
feel
story.
Refreshed. Thank you. So yeah, we're back. Coffee's out. So we're gonna be getting back to our normal routine on Tuesdays like we have been. We've got a backlog of topics to hit on for the future, but again, if you guys have things that are just on your mind that you'd like us to dig into for this show, we will most definitely consider it. Let us know. We have a new Discord channel in our Heroes Hearth Discord just for this show, by the way, so you can throw us topics and feedback there too. Is there
a link to the Discord below the stream right now? Let me see.
I think
there
it
is not that I can see.
Okay, well then we'll have to change that.
Yeah, we should add a link to the Discord down there. But yeah, there it is. Monster link the Discord right there. But we have our own little Jules and Coffee Hour channel in there now, and you can still reach us, everywhere. You can reach me in my Discord or on Twitter and things like that. But it's cool. We have our own little channel in the Heroes Hearth Discord now. So
yeah, discord.gg/HHENT is the quick link to get to it, by the way. Yeah, awesome. Well, Coffee, have a amazing Star Wars celebration. I cannot wait to hear about it next week when you get back. Hopefully you will stay. Okay, here's the rule. Do not touch your face for the next week. Don't get sick.
Yeah, the con flu.
Don't bring it home. Don't.
I'm actually using the power of the dark side to protect myself with a like a force shield actually around my body. And
whatever works, boo. Yeah. I mean, if you need to go there, just go there. I as long as you come home without being sick.
Yeah.
With that, you can send us your thoughts and feedback to the show at podcast@heroeshearth.com. You can find us on Twitter, HeroesHearthENT, and we'll get into the other stuff about how you can find us there. But we look forward to seeing you guys next week, and that means that I got to play the music.
Yeah.
And we gotta read the stuff. So that's gonna do it for this episode of the Jules and Coffee Hour. We hope you've enjoyed this time by the fire. Here's the lovely music that we love so much.
Want to contact the show? You can email us at podcast@heroeshearth.com. And if you want to connect with us on Twitter, you can find me at coffeeclub_TV. You can find Jules at JulesRPG. You can also use those handles to follow our personal streams on Twitch as well and get notified when we go live.
You can join us for the live broadcast at twitch.tv/HeroesHearth on Tuesdays at 6:30 p.m. Central, 4:30 p.m. Pacific, or find us in podcast form on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Pocket Cast, TuneIn, and Direct Feed.
If you like the show and would like to support the great entertainment brought to you by Heroes Hearth, please consider supporting them on Patreon at patreon.com/HeroesHearth.
Like Fight Night, which happens tomorrow.
There you go.
Thank you all for joining us today, and until next time, we're glad you're here.
And may the Force be with you.
Yeah.
May the force be with us all.
And also with you.
And also with you.
I've always wanted to do that to people, and I feel like it's really bad if I do that.
Oh, boy.
Hey! Hi,
Hey,
my
girl,
lovely people friends. Hello, friends.
Hey, Carrie.
Workhorse. Carrie. Workhorse, did you hear us talking about you and calling your name? We were talking about you.
Yep, we did. You're going to be out of town for Star Wars Day? Wait,
I hope you're doing something
for
fun,
May
though.
the 4th? May the 4th.
Thanks, Monster. You'll have to catch us on the podcast side. It'll be going up tomorrow.
Yeah.
Maybe if I feel up to it, you're going to go see your husband. Oh, you're going to be seeing Lift Your Game. Arthur.
Yeah, so Friday is episode 9 news. Saturday is they just teased a new Star Wars video game that's going to be released on Saturday, and then I think Sunday is the Galaxy's Edge Disneyland like news. Like, my head's going to explode. I'm going to be there.
So you have said, though, that you have actually not been to Disneyland before. No. So have you made reservations to go see it?
No. So people have told me it's like too late to get a season pass, but I wanted to get a season pass. So
yeah,
I don't know what's going to happen with that. But apparently if you buy ahead of time, like enough ahead of time, there will be periods of time where you can go, like you can schedule it so you'll be there without crowds of people, supposedly. Yeah. That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
I need to talk to one of our local Disneyland experts, because I know we have those in the Heroes of the Storm community. We have so many.
Shinobi and Lashes. Yep. Yeah, no kidding. My cousin is living in LA now, and I swear she goes to Disney like every weekend. I see her on Instagram.
Yep.
I'm like, girl, how do you do this on weekends? Because that is like, they're so busy. It's so busy.
I know. I'm like, I hate standing in lines, and
yeah.
I honestly usually don't like being like in super close proximity to a bunch of people. So like conventions and amusement parks are usually not my favorite thing, but
yeah,
when there's video games to be seen and when there's Star Wars to be experienced, you must make exceptions. You must be one with the Force.
It's true. It's true. I'm like that. I was like that with Vegas because it was apparently spring break, and I did not think about it when we planned this trip. And during the day was fine. The evening, oh shit, it was bad.
Oh yeah.
Oh shit, it was bad. So
that city doesn't sleep. That city doesn't sleep.
You're a Game of Thrones fan, and I was super stoked because the Bellagio was having a big special fountain show for Game of Thrones. That's like only going on for this like time frame before the premiere, right?
Okay.
So I was super stoked. I tell Jay we're gonna go to the Bellagio fountains. We're gonna go see it at like 8:00, and we go out there, and it's a mob scene everywhere. It's a mob scene, and so we're trying to see this, and just super crowded, obnoxious people, and the show starts, and this guy walks up behind us who knows the people who are standing next to us, and he's drunk as hell, and he's like, what are you guys doing? And they're like, shh, shh. And of course he's doing the drunk guy thing. Oh, I'm supposed to whisper, right? Because there's stuff going on right now, right? And I'm just like, what the shut up. And it was not that great. It wasn't that exciting anyway, and then we were dealing with all that, and I'm like, we're going back to the room. This sucks.
Bummer.
Oh, man.
It's all fun and games until some drunk guy ruins it all.
Exactly. Yeah, we saw some dude get arrested at a casino. It's like,
it sounds like you had a better time than I did with my experience with Brenda. I don't know if you guys remember, but I think it was like episode 1 or episode 2 of Jules and Coffee Hour. I mentioned Brenda, which was one of the only times I really thought I was going to get arrested. I thought I was getting kicked out of that bitch, Brenda.
Heroes of the Dorms. Dorm and Brenda.
Was it Heroes of the Dorm? I forget what it was. It was whatever event was in Vegas, but I thought I was getting the boot. Freaking Brenda.
Well, I figured out why we had gotten this hotel room so cheap at the Paris Hotel, which is like super fancy dancy. And it was because they're doing major construction in the hotel and on the upper floors. And they turned the water off on Wednesday and Thursday during the day from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. So I was fine like on Thursday because we were out all day. But that first day when we got there on Wednesday, I was like, I want to pee in my own room and I can't. Like, I can't even go into the bathroom in my own
Jeez.
room. So, and then there's just
my.
banging and stuff like this. Like, well, that's why this room was freaking cheap.
Well,
So
you don't want to spend too much time in the room anyway, right? You want to be
no.
experiencing stuff, so.
No, so we were, we made do with it, but
People
I was
pee
like,
on the
well,
street all the time in Vegas too. Like the street just permanently smells like pee.
like pee.
Yeah.
I know it does. It does.
Yeah, you know it's true.
You're like all the girls, all the girls with the what's it call it, the showgirl headdresses on. There were so many of them walking around, and sometimes they were only just wearing
not
like
much.
just not much, and like the only thing covering their boobages was a little pasty, so it was like, hi, okay.
A lot of boobages getting thrown around.
A lot of boobages. Yep. So, and then I see the little kids walking around with their parents. I'm like, man, how do you explain that?
What? Look at your iPad, honey. Don't look up.
Look at your screen. Look at your screen.
Look at your screen, sweetheart.
Yep.
No boobages.
Nope.
Oh, looks like I think my wife is home.
Okay. It's gonna be good timing then for us to head out. And Petrelli had to get locked away because he was a little shit.
Yeah. Had to lock him up. Yes.
I heard Daisy go off, and I was like, "Oh, that
well, I knew it was happening. I knew he was starting to get aggressive, and I was trying to do it quietly, but he is just too smart now. He's just too smart. He knows like how to escape me when I'm trying to reach for him. He knows that when we leave, we have to lock him up because we don't know what he's going to do around the house. So he intentionally, like when we're heading towards the door, he goes and hides under the bed now. Like he's just too smart.
Yeah.
He knows when he's being bad too, is the thing. Like he knows when he's being bad, and he knows how to escape you when you like have
It will die down because he's a teenager.
I
And
know.
he's gonna. It will die down. I promise you. But it's just gonna be hell for like the first 2 years.
Yeah, I know. He's just so damn cute. I love him. I love him to death.
All right. Well, we'll let you head out and say hello to your beautiful wife, and yeah, and we'll see you guys next week. I don't know what our topic is yet, but we have a bunch of them saved up. We'll decide which one it's going to be. Yeah, so we're excited.
Yes, thank you guys so much for watching. Love you all.
Love you guys. See ya.
Bye all.